How's everybody doing? I hope everybody's doing well. This is Mary from Around the Craft Room. Thank you for coming over and seeing what we've got going on this time. I came across some old patterns, so I thought it would be neat to do a book based on sewing. So I just pick out a couple of patterns here. I like these children's patterns. Maybe this one. We'll work on maybe these. All right, I have already got some pages cut and sprayed them with the Glimmer Mist. I have some just regular pages. I have some scrapbook pages, scrapbook paper. So this is the size I'm going for, and I cut these pages. These are 10 inches by 7 1/4. And then, of course, I fold them in half, which makes the book 5 by 7 1/4. So I'll need some chipboard or cardstock or whatever we've got. A little heavier than cardstock, maybe like chipboard. This is some cracker boxes, which are heavier cracker boxes. And I made these a little bit bigger than the paper. So just to make them a little bit bigger like this. This one is not... yeah, about 5 1/2 by 7 1/2. So I cut 2 of those. I like these rounded corners that I've done on the pages. So I went ahead and took this corner chopper and have corner chopped all my corners to make them round. And then I've took 2. I want the spine a little bit thicker. So I've taken 2 pieces of the chipboard, and this is a 7 1/2 by about 1 1/2. So I've taken 2 of those, and I'm going to glue these 2 together. And then I have some just brown craft paper, and I'm going to glue these down on here. All right, let's get started with that. I have used this Yes paste. I really like it. It reminds me of using paste when I was a kid in school. Instead of glue the way they do now, they actually have had paste, which was kind of gummy-like, but it sticks real well. So I just take a spatula or something like this and then just smear it down, kind of give it a smooth, even amount on there. And then I just stick this together to make it twice the thickness. I like the spines to be a little bit thicker. I like to get it just a little bit, just smooth it down here. You can use just any kind of glue too. I just happen to have this, and I really like using it because it does a good job. I usually start with the spine. That way I can put it down in the middle of the paper. And then I give myself, a good, probably a 1/4 inch. Oh, hang on. I've got something else I want to put on there first. To keep the paper from tearing in your book, I'll put a piece of tie back on each side of the spine, like this. Let's put this over here. And you can save these from packages that you happen to get in the mail. You might as well reuse it instead of sending it to the landfill. So there we go. Put a couple of pieces of that down. And then put the spine in here. Okay. This way, when your book is folded up, that will give it a less chance of it actually tearing. Now I go and put about a 1/4 inch difference in the book. That way it will open up flat. Yeah, I still want to be able to turn it up without the pages tearing or the back splitting. So I get about a 1/4 inch there. Glue on this and then turn this over like this. You probably don't need as much as I've put on here, but I like to put a reasonably good amount on there, but you need to get it rather smooth. It's easy to smooth it on like that. And then just turn it over and give yourself about 1/4 inch, making sure the bottom and the top is even with your spine there. So I've randomly cut 3 pieces of cardstock and just glued them together. I've just made myself like a little shim. So it's probably, I'm hoping maybe that's about 1/4 inch thick. And you could do that out of anything that you've got there. Yeah, that's the size I need. So I'll put some more of this paste on here, leaving 1/4 inch on this side too. Again, I can use my little shims and see if that's about what I want, about the size I need. Yep, I like that. And then just rub that down really good. I have a brayer. I can go across this. Normally with this paste, it doesn't bubble up your paper like wet glue would. Okay, now we need to fold this in. Now I do have to do a little bit different around the corners. I'm going to have to snip it a little bit, but I'll do that here in a second. And then I'm fold this down pretty tight. I'm folding this up like this so I can cut off the excess. But I still want a good bit of the brown paper showing here. So this part is pretty good. Now I want to cut this off just a little bit like that. There we go. Now I'm just going to take and fold up the sides like this on each side and cut them off about like that too. Leaving about 1.5 to 2 inches. But this corner I'm going to try to fold around and make it come in a little bit. So it's going to be kind of bumpy looking to start with. Okay, I need to take some of this paper off on each side. Something like that. Not all the way up to the paper, but a snippet a few places like this. That way I can fold it in. Kind of rounding it up a little bit. So I'm rounding it up, so I'm going to have to leave it a little bunchy like this. But I'm going to put something over it, so that's fine. So right now I just want to put from here to here, I'm just going to put some of that paste around the side here. Okay, working with the corners first, folding them in like this, and then just folding them in. And I may have to put a little bit of paste on each piece of paper as I fold it in to kind of round the corners up a little bit. I'll come back in and put some more paste in there after I get this rounded in. The corners, making rounded corners on a book is always a little bit harder to do. Okay, and the same goes for each corner. I'll go back in and put some more glue on that when I get all the 4 corners. But right now I'm working on just getting the corners done, and then we'll work on getting the extra glue down. So this is the way the corners will look when we get that done. you've got them the way you like them, then you just go back in and smooth them on down, and then just add a little bit more paste underneath all of this to smooth it down. Just you know, and underneath all the extra paper here, smoothing it out. It's good thing about this, why I like to use, again, this paste, you can lift it up. It dries good, but it doesn't dry too fast. So it's not like white glue where you would probably tear the paper if you picked it up to work with it. You can pick up the paper and re-stick it lots of times. I don't want a whole lot of glue down in the between the spine and the back and front covers. And then I'll take the bone folder after I get this done, and I want to take the bone folder and fold and push down between the spine and the covers. And so we're gonna have to let this dry. I'm gonna fold the covers in, make sure they're gonna fold. There we go. Okay, whenever you finish with the yes paste, make sure you seal it up good, and also make sure you clean off the outside. But before you do anything else, you'll want to take your bone folder and anything you've used with the glue and go wash it and get this off of here, because it will stick and it will just stay on there. So I've gone through the patterns that I had stacked up here, and on the outside cover I want to use a picture from one of these patterns. And I was thinking this girl, but I think she's just too big. So I've chosen, I believe, these two girls to put on the front of the pattern. Plus this kind of represents the 80s, say when my kids were little. So I think I'm going to use this, and I like the yellows and the red in here, but I also like pinks, and I don't know. So I'm going to take this pattern out of here. I also want to use some of the pattern pieces themselves on the book cover. So I may just have to straighten up a couple of pieces of pattern here. I like the way that it's been wrinkled. That gives it a little bit more texture on the pattern. I do want the writing right side up. Also maybe cover it with some of the paper, not completely cover it, but just randomly cover it. And then I'm going to kind of just roughly cut around this. I may use the back of it too for the back of the book. That would be cool. After I get this done, I think I will show you how to journal some pages in it. I also went and found some pages, but they're kind of in the pink tone, in just my single sheets. I'm trying to use up some single sheet papers. You know how we always have these left over from our paper pads. Let me fussy cut this out, or kind of cut these girls out a little bit, and then I may have to go back and find some different color paper, because I thought I'd like that, but we'll see. Okay, so I've gone to look for some paper, because I want to put something underneath this before I put the girls down. And I like the idea of using some of the tissue with the designs and stuff on it. So I found this paper pad, and in here they've got this one that it's got paper pattern on it, and I thought about using it with the girls, but I kind of like something else under there, some more color. But I do like the idea of using the tissue paper. So this is kind of what I've got in mind, is doing some kind of a collage like that, but with a little bit more color. I found this paper pad, which I thought was really neat. So I'm just trying the girls out on different patterns using a piece of tissue paper underneath it. And These colors are kind of neat to do, and I also came across this Christmas paper here. I like the stripe, but this girl's wearing striped, so I thought that was a little too much. Maybe the red and white would be kind of cool. I'm going to take this out of the book. There we go. Okay, I'm trying to see which one I like better. So I'm going to put some tissue paper over the top of it, and then put these girls on top of that. Okay, I think I like the white one better. This also shows you that, you know, when you're looking through paper, and we've all got a lot of Christmas books, that you don't have to save the Christmas books for your Christmas crafting. All right, we're going to use that for our front and back covers. I'm not sure what we're going to put on the spine yet. I think I'd like to leave some of the brown showing around the outside. Plus, I think I will ink it all with the vintage photo. Yeah, I think I'm going to ink everything. So we're just going to do a collage of sort on the front of this book, using that, some of the pattern, and then we're going to use the girls for the front and come up with something else maybe to add to it. I'm also thinking I'm going to use some of this instructions for pages inside our book. I know when I get the book done and start journaling in it, this girl, I want to tell you a story and do a journaling page with her on it, but that's down the way when I get to that. Let's go ahead and cut this down. I think I'm going to go ahead and cut it 5 by 7. That would get a little bit smaller than the book itself, leaving a little bit of that brown on the outside to show. Now I'm going to go ahead and get the corners rounded. And go ahead and ink all around the edges. This is torn here, but it's going to be okay because I'm going to add some more trim or something else along the back of that book anyway. I want it to look a little vintage because the patterns themselves are not white. They've aged, so I don't mind if we actually even add more color onto this background of the white. Let's try that. Let's just add some random color on this. I think I like that. There we go. Again, I'm not sure what we're going to do with the spine. I could put that contrasting red on the spine. I'm not sure. And then I'm going to go ahead and put some paste on the paper here. So I want to leave approximately the same amount around the top and the bottom. And then do the same to the back. Okay, off camera I went ahead and glued down the back, and then I went ahead and cut a piece of that red, inked it up a little bit, and put it down on the spine of the book. The reason I went ahead and covered the spine now, because I want to punch a hole through all of this, so when we get further on in the book, I'll show you how to make a charm or a tassel to put on the back of our book. Now, I'm just going to take pieces of the tissue paper and just layer it. And just, all I'm doing is just playing with the collage here that we're going to put on here. I like that, but it's a little too big. So, I think I'll put this, do something like this. Add another piece of this in here. I was going to cover all of it with the sides too, but I don't know. I don't know. Let's just try it. I'm just afraid over a period of time, if I put it on here, that it might crack. I think I'm just going to put a thin layer of this paste on all of this. Okay. We'll add a little bit more on top of this. Yeah, I like that. I'm going to put these girls down. All right. I'm going to put them right about here. And then go ahead and start on the back over here by doing the same thing, putting a light coat of the paste on this. And if you didn't have this Yes paste, I imagine a glue stick would work really well. You could probably just do that. Okay, I think I will go ahead and find some small pieces and put on the spine, and then we will let it all dry and see where we go from here. I've found some pieces of pattern pieces and I've glued them down here. I'm going to lay this aside to dry, and while I'm doing that, I've cut the pattern instructions into 10 by 7 or something close to that, and then I've rounded the corners, and I'm going to put those in each signature. I'm making 3 signatures just with the papers I have here. That I've got some scrapbook paper, some misted colored papers that I've done, and then I'm adding the instruction papers in there. And I found a little doily that I had made out of just a scrap piece of scrapbook paper, and I'm going to put one of those in each one. I've just got one made, so I went and cut some 6 by 6 squares, and I'll show you how I'm going to do that real quickly. Okay, this is some glimmer mist that I made. I believe I have a video of this up, and it will give it a little shimmer. And I'll dry that with my heat tool here, and then I will do the other one. Okay, I don't know if that's showing up on camera or not, but it's got that little shimmery shine to it. Oh yeah, that's pretty. And the gold eyeshadow in it gives it this little gold specks. Let me dry this. Most people like doing these books with a vintage color, and they do a lot of tea staining and coffee staining. I don't know. I just like color. So I like using these Glimmer Mist for added color. So I have a couple of punches. I haven't used them in quite a while. And you take a 6-inch piece of paper and put it up to the corner here like that. And just go in all the way around. Then I flip it over like this and go back in and punch another 4 times like that. These are We Are Memory Keeper punches. I'm not sure if you can still get them. There was a lot of different ones. I just have 2 of them. So I haven't used them in quite a while, and I saw after I had that one lay-in here that I had done in the past, I saw them over there and I'm like, I can add that to my book. So I'll add that. Now this one's a little bit different. Okay, I'm going to dry it a little bit more. This is still wet and I don't want to put a wet paper in the punch. Okay, this one's a little bit different. It's a different style of doily punch. So let's see what we have here. Get that paper up in there. Why it's not fitting, I don't know. Maybe because it's a little curly. I don't know. Okay. That's because the paper is wrinkled. I'm going to tell you what. I'm going to go get another piece of paper, another 6x6 square, and punch it first before I color it. Let's see if that works. All right. Yeah, that goes in easy. It's just because the paper was wrinkled from the coloring. There we go. Get rid of all these scraps. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and spray this one. When you have any kind of spray like that, you wipe off the nozzle. It keeps it from clogging up as much. And then dry it. And we will add that to one of our signatures. I've gone ahead and cut the inside piece for my book here. And then I've just kind of folded this down where it will be down into the book. And I went ahead and got these pieces to add in here, which I will corner chop the ends and then ink around those and get ready to put these in the book. Okay, so I've been looking at this picture and I think I'd like to have a little shadow around here. So I have this Faber-Castell graphite pencil and I'm just going to add a little shadow around our girls. And it's a water-based pencil. So I'm just going to add a little water and bring it out. Just bring out a little bit of a shadow around our girls. This is just a water brush. I think it makes the girls stand out a little bit more. After I do that, I'm going to go ahead and make sure that's dry. All right, I'm going to turn this over and we're going to get ready to glue the pattern down here. I chose these, give them a little bit brighter color, and I've already inked around all of it. Cut the rounded corners on the outside pieces, and then we will glue all those down. All right. Going to try to even that up a little bit. Right there. Take our bone folder and smooth that down. And then take the bone folder and go down into the crevices here. Trying not to push it down too hard. We don't want the paper to break. And then I want to make sure the sides fold up good. And then I'm just going to put the rest of that down. Now I need to get a scrap piece of paper and put some paste on this. There we go for that side, and let's do the other side now. Smooth it down. Make sure it's all glued around all the edges. And that's the inside of our book. We'll go ahead and let that dry, or dry it for a minute. I think it's all pretty much done. Now when I get through with this book, I'm going to put a tassel or a charm on the back of it. So I have these little charm holders. I'm not really sure what they're called, but I got a package of these on Amazon. Now Tim Holtz made some, and I also have some of his, but they're a bit smaller. I think I'm going to add this larger one. So I need to just kind of find the center of that. I have a center ruler. Let me see if I can find it. It has 0 in the middle, and then it goes out each side, like 1, 2, and like so on. You can put that in the middle there. So I'll figure out where the center is, and I think I want to cut down about an inch. The problem is I'm going to have the signature sewed in, and I want to sew one down the middle and one on each side. So maybe I'll still be able to. Okay, I'm just going to go for it. I'm hoping this will work out the way I have planned, but we'll see. So I'm going to go down about 1/2 inch, and then I'm going to find the center and put a mark there. Then I'm going to take my crocodile, and I'm going to put it on the smaller of the holes. It punches 2 different size holes, and I'm going to put it on the smaller of the hole. Okay. And now I'm going to put this brad through here. Now I have my signatures made. I'm making 3 signatures, and I usually put about 10 sheets of paper per signature. And now I'm going to take some clamps and put them the way I want them all together. Make sure the centers are really tight. And then I'm going to go ahead and put clamps on them to hold them in place until we get ready to sew them in. Okay, so with putting this brad in here, it's kind of in the spot that I would normally put my first hole for my center signatures. So what I'm going to end up doing is that signature is going to be sewn in a little lower than the rest of them. But I've already made this template. I made it with 3 signatures on it. So I'm going to go ahead and draw the holes here, or where I'm going to poke the holes. Okay. But this one up here is where I'm going to be putting that brad. So I'm going to draw it a little lower. Okay, something like that. Now, I do need to find another piece of cardstock. Okay, so I'm just going to fold this, and then fold this where the holes are. and draw the holes in the middle of this cardstock. So I'll know where to poke the holes in the signatures. Alright, so now I need to find something to poke the holes with. And this is where I'm going to be poking the holes for the front and the back signature, and the center one is going to be a little bit lower at the top. I do need to make these the same height though. So I'm just going to poke the holes down the middle of this and then start sewing in some signatures and making sure that center one is sewn down a little bit lower, like something like this. Okay, I've taken this that I drew the center holes to be punched on that, and I've taken just a piece of cardstock and drew the holes to match up with that, and I've punched the holes in all of these, and now I'm going to have to punch holes in this, which I don't think I'm going to be able to punch it through with my little tool here, because remember we put 2 thicknesses of chipboard in that, and so that is going to be super thick. I do have an ice pick I could use. Okay, I found my ice pick. Let me see if I can just poke a hole through any of these without jabbing myself. I'm just kind of to sit there and twist all these holes through a little bit at a time. Okay, I just have to finish poking all the holes, and then we'll get ready to sew our signatures in. So with this one, I'm going to use some wax thread I have. So I'll need about 2.5 lengths of thread. Then I use a needle with a pretty good size eye, so it's just easier to thread it. I think I want to put this, I haven't used one of these here before, so what I should have done was put it underneath the paper here, but I didn't think ahead of time for that. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in now, but I don't like that sticking out that far there. So I'm going to get one of the beading tools and just cut the end off of that. Yes. And then push it down. And I think since I'm going to do that way, I'm just going to cut the end off this one too, up above where I'm going to be poking, where I'm going to be sewing that signature in. Pushing that down like that, and then I'm going to have to find something to keep that down. Then we're going to start with our center signature, sewing it in like right here. And I think I'll just go ahead and clamp these down to my book, leaving a tail here, going back in the next one, coming up through that hole I punched, down through this one, back up through the next one, and down through the bottom one. And I've showed you how to sew these signatures in a different video, and then back up through there. Now I just need to tighten up my threads and pull it tight. Tie a knot in this. And then just cut off your excess strings. Now I just need to sew the front and back signatures in the same way. Okay, so I've gone ahead and sewn in the signatures. I'm still not happy with the way I left that brad, but I should have covered it up before I put that paper on there, so it's just going to have to be okay for this book. And again, I didn't sew this for some reason too straight, but I think once we put the tassel on, it's going to be okay. I'm looking to maybe add some more trim or something onto the front of this. And what I haven't done is putting kind of closure on it. This is what our book looks like so far. And then I'm going to probably leave the video maybe for this and come back with one making the tassel. Thank you so much for watching. Y'all have a great day.